Hey everyone, Kaosy Umeh here, aka Attorney Know-It-All, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back. As I said in this new year, I'm going to try to post every single day. I haven't kept up to that, but I am trying here. But today, I'm here to talk to you all about custody, and particularly custody when it comes to fathers, and fathers making sure that they can get either 50-50 custody during their divorce or their separation, or they can at least get full custody, or as we like to call it here in the great state of Maryland, primary residential custody. So when I'm speaking of custody here today, I'm really only talking about physical custody, and which is where the children are going to stay overnight. There are two types of custody: legal custody and primary. I'm sorry, legal custody and residential custody. Today we're only going to speak about residential custody, which is really defined by how many nights do the children spend overnight with you. It's all about overnight. Daytime access for the kids does not count in the custody calculation. It's all about where the children sleep at night. So, to me, there are three mistakes men make that really ends with them not getting either 50-50 access to the children or getting primary residential custody of the children. And I'm going to start off with the top three, and then I'm going to bring in one honorable mention that I just think is basic and everyone should be doing. So, the first mistake men forget to do when getting divorced or when they're splitting up with their significant or other is to make a plan and to implement it within 1 week of moving out of the home. If you two are living together and you're getting divorced or you're separated and there are children involved, before you leave, ask the man, if you're the one moving out, you need to make sure you're sitting down with the mother of that child and going, hey, I know we're splitting up, but I'd like to continue to be involved in our children's lives. So depending on the ages of the children, and if you want 50-50 custody, your schedule is going to look a little differently. The older the children are, let's say they're in high school, you're probably going to recommend that, hey, how about I have the kids 1 week from Sunday to Sunday, and then the next week from Sunday to Sunday you have them. So you two are rotating custody every 2 weeks. 1 week on, 1 week off. That's what we call it. The next idea you can have, let's say your kids are in middle school, not quite high school age, or in they're like between 6th and maybe ninth grade. They're old enough to spend a little time away from each parent, but you don't want them spending much time away from each parent. You might suggest something different. And again, it's all these schedules are all going to be on a 2 week schedule, like a week on, a week off, or just a 2 week rotation. So for this one, and again, this is for sixth graders, maybe ninth graders, you could recommend, hey, they're in that middle age, so I don't want them to be gone for a long time away from me. I don't want them to be gone for a long time away from you. So let's do a 3-4 schedule. And a 3-4 schedule is exactly what it sounds like. The first, let's say from Monday through Wednesday, the children spend overnight with the mother. Then from Monday through Wednesday on the first week, the children would spend their overnights with their mother. And then from Thursday through Sunday on that first week, they spend their overnights with father. So that's 3 days with mother, 4 days with father. Then on the next week, you guys switch it up. So in that case, from Mondays through Thursdays, they will spend their overnights with their mother. And then from Friday to Sunday, they'll spend their overnights with their father. So that's 4 days with mother, 3 days with father. So that way, every 2 weeks, the kids are spending 7 days with mother, 7 days with father. So that's still 50-50, but different than the week on, week off because of the ages of the children. Now, if the kids are younger than 6th grade, you might want to try something even like a shorter time period between each visit. Because again, they're younger, they haven't been away from each parent that long, and that might be a hard transition to go week on, week off to like a 6-year-old. But you can do something that's closer. You can do I believe the 2-2-3 schedule, where the kids will spend Mondays and Tuesdays with mother, Wednesdays and Thursdays with father, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with mother. Then the following week, they'll spend Monday and Tuesday with father, Wednesday and Thursday with mother, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with father. Yeah, I'm not sure if I got this right or wrong, but you get what I mean. But basically, you're rotating it. So that way, again, every 2 weeks, the kids will spend 7 days with mother and 7 days with father. But because of their age, and we're talking, they're less than, was it, sixth grade is 12 years old? No, sixth grade's around 10 years old. So sixth grade, they're around 10 or 11 years old. Because of how young they are, you're saying we don't want the kids to go too long without each parent, so we're going to be rotating the custody more often. But you're each going to have equal amounts of time with the children at the end of every 2 weeks. So that's the more mistake fathers make when they're leaving the home. They don't make that plan and they don't implement that plan as soon as they move out. Most guys will go, oh, let me first get myself settled after I move out, and then we can do a more 50-50 schedule. The problem with that is that by the time you're in a better place to begin that 50-50 schedule, your kids have gotten used to whatever schedule that was going on in the meantime. And then you get the court and you're asking the court to switch it back to a 50-50 schedule. And the court is saying, no, sir, we can't do this. You're going to be disrupting your kids' lives for a second time. The first time you guys disrupted your kids' lives was when you broke up and you had to move out. And the second time is going to be taking the schedule they have to get used to after this great upheaval in their life. And you want us to go change the schedule again. And the courts are typically saying, no, sir, that's not in the best interest of the children. I understand you're not going to spend enough time with your kids, but at the end of the day, it's all about the kids and what's in their best interest versus what you need. And I hear it all the time. How is it in my kids' best interest that I'm not spending? They're not seeing me every week, that I'm only spending every other weekend with them. We hear this all the time. But again, the reason that's happening is because when you moved out, you didn't have a plan and you didn't implement that plan right away. So that's number one. The number two thing men forget to do when moving out is making phone calls. It sounds weird, but one thing I've always found is when you move out, on the days you don't have your kids, make it a point to make a phone call. Pick your if it's give yourself a time in the day, maybe 7 o'clock every night. We'll call your kids up, and you don't have to be on the phone with them for a long time. It's really just a check in. My kids aren't here with me. I want to make sure they're okay at the end of the day. I want to take care of them. I want to know I'm still present. And it sounds so little, it sounds so petty, but these things come up in court because as an attorney on the other side, what I'm going to try to show the court is, Your Honor, he doesn't care about his kids. He doesn't check in on them when he's not with them. They can go 2 weeks without ever hearing from their father. Or they can go 1 week and he only calls them once a week and he only spends 10 minutes with them on the phone. Whatever it is, you don't want that narrative to be what's being told to the court. You want your lawyer to be able to tell the judge, Your Honor, not only did my client move out with a plan to see his kids every other weekend and make sure not every other weekend, a week on, week off, and he made sure he arranged the schedule, but every single night, his kids are not with him. He calls them to make sure they go to bed hearing their father's voice, and they never go a day without ever doubting that their father loves them because he checks it every single night. That's the narrative you want your attorney to be telling the judge. That's the narrative you want the judge to see when the other side is arguing that you should have less time with your kids. So that's number two. Showing the court that you're a consistent presence in your children's lives. Because again, courts look at consistency when determining custody. The first thing they look at, the backbone behind all custody decision is best interest of the child. And one of the factors is consistency. Another factor is how close you two live to each other. But we'll talk about the factors later in another video. So that's number two. When guys move out, they don't always make that nightly phone call, or even it doesn't have to be nightly. If you work late shifts and you can't make a nightly phone call, you can make it a morning phone call. If you're working early in the morning, you can't make a morning phone call. You can make it a midday phone call, whatever it is. It doesn't just have to be a phone call; it can be a virtual FaceTime thing. It doesn't matter. All you need to show the court is that you are consistently doing this over and over and over again. So that's number two, showing the court that you've had a consistent presence in your kid's life, even after you moved out. even on the days you two agreed that the kids weren't going to be with you, that you were consistently there in their lives every single day. Um, the third mistake I see a lot of guys make is also not showing up for extracurricular activities or for health things, medical health things. So extracurricular activities, if your child is involved in sports, let's say on the swimming team or the football team or the basketball team, I'm not saying you have to make it to every practice or every single game day, but you need to show the court that you're actually making it to some of these things. That it's not just the mother who's consistently there day in, day out. As I said previously with a phone call, consistency is an issue here. You need to show the court that you're an active and consistent presence in your kid's life. So that means making it to many of those medical appointments, the eye doctor, the dentist. You don't have to go to all of them, but I always tell my clients to aim for at least 50% of them. Show the courts that you're trying to make it whenever it's possible, and you're trying to work with mom so you can each switch off to who's going to make it to which one, who's going to go to which appointment, who's going to go to the other appointment. Again, it's all about consistency, showing the court that you're an active parent. And this also includes things like school, going to those PTA meetings, those parent teachers conferences. I know now in Maryland they have I forget the name of the blackboard where parents are allowed to look in, like the website parents are allowed to look in on their kids. Checking in on those, sending like when the teacher sends a letter out to an email out to the parents, shoot back a quick reply, even if you could just say, "Oh, thank you for the updates, got it." I don't care what it is. It's all about showing your judge that you're consistent, continuous presence in your children's lives. That's what it's about. So those are the three main mistakes I see fathers making. So the last mistake, and this is just an extra tip: pay child support. So I don't care if you're not paying what the courts would order in a final child support hearing. So the thing with Maryland is that we have a child support calculator. You put in both parents' income. It gives you the amount that each parent should be contributing to child support. So when you move out of the home, I don't care if you're not paid up to the amount that the Maryland calculator says you should be paying, but you should be making a consistent payment every month to the mother. And I will send this payment either by Cash App or Zelle, and I'll label it right there in the little comment section on Cash App and Zelle, and I'll put it child support. And I don't care what the amount is. If you have two kids, trying to make sure it's over $100. Because again, if you have to do 50-50 custody, it really shouldn't be that much you're paying in child support. But make it consistent. Every month, label it, send it. Because that shows the court that, yes, just because you moved out of the house doesn't mean you don't care about your children's security and your children's financial safety. That you're still contributing to with your children. When you put these three things together, and then you show the court a father who lives in close proximity, who sees his children, that since he moved out, he can see his children on a regular 50-50 basis. He shows up to the medical appointments, school appointments, the extracurriculars. He's calling his kids every night at the same time, make sure that they know that they're loved. He's paying that child support even though it hasn't yet been court ordered. He's still making sure that mother has a little something in her pocket to take care of the kids, and we're just waiting for the final child support order. When you present the court this big picture, and the court looks at the other factors that is involved in custody, it is very hard for me to imagine you're going to walk out of that court without at least 50-50 custody being ordered by that judge. It's just very hard for me to believe this. And that's what most men don't know. Most people go into court thinking there's an automatic bag. It really isn't. The court is only looking at what's the record, what does your history show, and why should we change it? That's what you're trying to show the court. You're trying to go to court to show the court that this has been the record since the beginning, and there's no reason it should change. If mother's asking for sole custody, you're showing the court, nuh-uh. Since I left the house, we've been doing 50-50 custody, just like this, and there's no reason now why we should change this. And remember this, in Maryland, until the court gives a court order, neither father nor mother has legal custody of those children. Neither father or mother can, but the better way to phrase that is that either father or mother could keep the kid. Plain and simple. So when you're separating, separate with a plan. Don't go to it free willy like, oh no, I can't take this marriage anymore. Oh no, we need to move apart. Oh no, I don't love you anymore. That's not how you approach it. Not when it comes to your kids. When you come to your kids, you make a plan and you implement that plan as soon as possible. So when it's time for that divorce hearing or that final custody hearing, you go to the judge and you show the judge the plan you made, how you implemented it, and how you've been showing up consistently and regularly for your children. I hope you guys found that helpful. That's really the best advice I can give you when it comes to custody and when it comes to fathers. There is no bias out there towards mothers. I mean, I will admit there might be one or two judges in each district or each county that has that innate bias in them. But for the most part, from what I've seen fathers get custody. I've helped fathers get custody. It's done. It's easily done. But you have to approach this to the plan. When you're a father, because you're the one who naturally leaves the house, when you two separate, the burden of making that plan and implementing that plan is going to be up to you. So, anyway, I hope that helps. I did not mean to rant for so long. I'm looking at how long this video is. Yikes. Let me know if this was helpful. If so, just leave a like or a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe. And if there are any other topics you want me to touch on, just let me know. And I hope you found this helpful.